Welcome guys, in this video we'll talk about ngClass, which is one of the built-in directive provided by Angular. Let's see how we can make use of that. So ngClass is an attribute directive which is provided by your Angular library. This lets you dynamically apply certain CSS class to your HTML element. In my code, I have created a paragraph element, and in the corresponding CSS file I have two classes. One is danger, which changes the background color to red, and the other is large, which increases the font size to 48. Now normally if we want to apply this style to our paragraph tag, we will use the class attribute and then provide the class names which applies this styles. For example, if it's danger, then you can see that the background color of this paragraph tag has been changed to red. We can also apply two classes together, just separating them by a space. So if it's large and danger together, then the text will be bigger now and the background color will still be red. But the problem with this approach is we cannot add these classes based on certain condition. Either we apply them to the element or we don't. That is where ngClass can help you. Before start using ngClass, let us see what is the syntax of using ngClass. Now ngClass is an attribute directive which takes this following kind of inputs. It can take a string, it can take an array or an object. When it takes a string, it is basically taking the name of the classes that you want to apply to the element. It just works similar to our class attribute. So instead of class, we can also use ngClass here and use the similar syntax. This will still apply both the classes to our paragraph element. If you inspect this element, then you can see that both the class danger and large are applied to our paragraph element. If we want to use property binding with ngClass, then we have to follow proper JavaScript syntax, which is to enclose these class names within quotation mark. So in that case, we will get a similar result. Instead of separating the class names with space, we can also provide an array which specifies the class name. Now here we are actually passing an array of CSS classes to our ngClass directive. That is also a valid syntax and will give you the similar result. But these are still not so useful, because this is something that we can already do with our class attribute of our HTML element. Then what is the benefit of using ngClass? The benefit comes in its third syntax, where it takes an object. The object that ngClass takes follows a syntax similar to this. The key of the object represents the class name that you want to apply to that element, which is danger in this case. The value, however, would be a boolean value, true or false. If it's true, then only the class will be applied to the paragraph element. So in the current example, you can see that the value is true, hence danger should be applied to our paragraph tag. If I inspect this element, then you can see that the danger class has applied to this paragraph element. But if I now change it to false, then this paragraph tag do not have the danger class anymore. Instead of directly putting the true or false value here, we can fetch the value from the TypeScript file. Let's say in the TypeScript file we have a boolean variable is danger, which has a value of true. Now this can be a variable which you might be bringing from your backend based on certain logic, and then you are using this variable to decide whether your element should have a particular style or not. You have the similar result. If I change it to false, then the class will be removed from your paragraph tag. This is the usefulness of ngClass. That means you can dynamically add certain classes to your HTML element based on certain condition, which is danger here. You can also apply multiple classes based on the condition in a single line. To do that, let me define one more variable, which is large, and set both of them to true. You can separate the key value pair with comma as per the standard JavaScript object. The key will be the class name and the value will be the condition based on which you want to apply the class name. I hope this syntax is clear to you, because this is the one which is of use, and this is the one that you are going to use in your code almost every time. So it is basically an object. An object comprises of key value pair. Your key should be the class name and the value is a boolean value. So though it might look complex, it is actually easy if you think from the object perspective. If we save it, then our last paragraph tag has both the classes danger and large. What if you want to apply multiple classes based on a single condition? Let's say you have a boolean variable which is important in your TypeScript file, and based on the value of this variable, you want to apply multiple classes to your HTML element. To do that, you can separate your name of the class with space like you have did in the first paragraph, say danger and large, and in the right hand side you will put your condition, which is important. So if this condition is true, then both of this class will be applied, and if it's false, then none of this will be applied. Right now it's true, so both of the classes are applied, and if I now change it to false, then you can see that none of the class exists on the last paragraph tag. This syntax here is a particular type of property binding which is also known as class binding, which automatically detects change in your TypeScript file and dynamically adds the styling to your HTML element. I'll provide a link to the snippet of the code in the description below. Feel free to play around with it, and I will see you in the next one.